Hello, this is RICKY, the Android Guy. Welcome to another episode of Android Weekly, where we give you your mobile news as well as answer all questions you may have. If you are new to Android Weekly, we start off by going through the mobile news, then answering the questions that were emailed to me during the week, and then we get to the live questions in the comment section down below. Now, if you missed it and you have a question for me, just email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com. and I will respond to you hopefully the next week. You have to understand, guys, I'm getting a lot of emails now, so if yours isn't one of the ones picked, come on when I film it live, and I will answer it live. That's the best way to get your questions answered. All right, now to start off, the first bit of news is going to be that the Android guy was right. The S5 LTE is now LTE-A is now official, and it's exactly what I said it was. Yes, this is the long thought-over S5 Prime. And what it is, it's a quad HD display with a Snapdragon 805 processor, which I desperately want, and a 3 gigs RAM. This is just the best of the best. There's nothing that competes with this, period. I don't care what you say. There is nothing that competes with this kind of hardware and specs, period. Even if you root it, and you want stock Android, all power to you. But there is nothing that competes with this. This is just the top of the line out right now. Snapdragon 805, it's the only device that has it right now, as far as I'm aware. And with 3 gigs RAM, with a quad HD display, it's just unbeatable. What I'm really curious about this device is, does it get as bright as the S5? For those of you who don't know, the S5 is pretty much the brightest screen out there, as well as the darkest screen. It's actually one thing that even, say, the LG G3 that has the quad HD display is not as dark and is not as bright. So, that's the one thing I'm really curious about this device. Does it lose that brightness and darkness that made it DisplayMate's best screen in the world for the regular Galaxy S5? Does the LTE-A measure up to it? That's what I'm really curious about. And just like I said, this device will not come out anywhere outside of Korea and most likely Japan. It will only be in places that predominantly have LTE-A, which is not the US, not Europe. No place like that will have LTE-A for the rest of the year. So it will not come out there. Sorry, guys. I told you, don't get your hopes up. The S5 Prime was never meant to come to the US, which sucks. All right, and the second bit of news, Samsung is currently in talks to buy Nuance. Now, who is Nuance? Nuance is a company which powers Siri. So if you ever wondered how Siri's voice recognition gets it so accurate, it's because it's a company called Nuance. Now, Nuance has given us Dragon Natural Speaking on our computers for years. This was the standard for voice dictation. Anyone that uses voice dictation on a computer is pretty much using Dragon Natural Speaking, and Nuance is providing the translation software. And this is why, Siri does well. However, I still say that it's not on the same level as Google, which I feel does a better job overall. It does a better job, plain and simple. However, Nuance is so big because if Samsung buys Nuance, could they just shut down Siri? That's the question that kind of everyone was like, what? When they were buying Nuance. I would suspect no. I would suspect Nuance has some sort of contractual obligation to power Siri for X amount of years. Now, will that be different if Samsung gets it? Maybe. Would Samsung even pay a termination fee? Or rather, yeah, like, oh, we'll pay Apple this amount of money, and Nuance no longer works with Siri. I mean, think about the replications that could have. That could just stop Siri. If you could stop your competitor in their tracks like that, wouldn't you do it? I would pay. I don't care if it's $10 million. I would pay it just to shut down Siri for at least, you have to figure, a month before Apple could make some kind of, make the software updates to make, whatever company they went with, Lingo or any other voice recognition software. If they lose Nuance, That is such a big blow. And theoretically, again, theoretically, they could shut down Siri. Now, will it happen? I would be surprised if Apple would let it. If Apple were to, whatever Samsung would bid, Apple would have to up the bid because it's dangerous to have that kind of power in your competitor's hands. Could it? Again, yes, definitely could, but I'm really curious to see if it would work. All right, and the other big news was, of course, the Amazon Fire Phone. What does the Android guy think about it? Let me go through the details first, and then I'll explain why and what I think about this device. All right, first bit of information. Let's go through all of the cool features about this device. So for one, it has a 3D dynamic perspective sensor system, which essentially means that it has kind of like a 3D image display, but instead of going outward like a traditional display, it goes inward, which is a lot better. It causes a lot less friction and headaches when doing that, so that's kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's pretty much like we've had in like live wallpapers or even in standard games. I mean, we've had this technology, but this is doing in working. Well, no, because those kind of wallpapers worked with the gyroscope and accelerometer and everything else. But again, it's really cool, and it's an interface that no one else has done. So that's what makes it truly different, because it's the entire interface that this applies to. Firefly, which a lot of people are thinking is new, but if you guys don't know, Amazon has an app right now called Flow, available on the Google Play Store. It does the same thing. When you highlight something, it will recognize it and show you what it is on Amazon. Now, that's the main idea behind it. However, on Firefly, it did take it to the next level and allows you to recognize numbers as well, and websites as well, and things like that, besides just wanting you to buy stuff, which is the primary reason Amazon made this phone. The reason Amazon made this phone is right in here and right in the app called Flow. Flow hasn't been downloaded as much as Amazon would probably like, so Firefly is the overall solution for it, because it does everything, including, of course, the products that it can highlight. And it can do, it was like 100 million items, which again is the same thing that Flow can do. So if you haven't heard about Amazon Flow, download the app on the Google Play Store, and it has the same kind of thing. Gesture interface again works kind of with the dynamic perspective range, so it's not too big. 590 nits is very, very high in terms of brightness. I think that actually might beat out the S5, which was the current contender, if I'm not mistaken. But very, very high brightness in the outdoors. The only problem with that is, will it die quickly because of this? Now, it only has a 720p display with a 4.7-inch screen, which will be the same as the iPhone Air coming out later this year. But it's really interesting to see how the battery life will last with that kind of brightness, because the brighter it is, the darker it'll get. Premium materials, basically, mainly it has parts of metal around it, but mainly is that it's glass in the front and glass on the back, kind of like the old iPhones. 13 megapixel iOS camera. Now, obviously, competitors will make the photo look as good as they want it to, so take all this photo with a grain of salt. But what we can definitely expect is that it does have optical image stabilization, which iPhone will not have later this year, and obviously the S5 does not have either. But it's an f2.0 lens, so it does let through more light than either of the other two devices normally would. However, if you do like what's called smart stability with the S5, it will let through more light, basically changing the f-stop. Not necessarily in the same way, and not as the same effect, but it does a good job. So you have to keep those kind of things into account. It does have dual speakers with Adobe Plus speakers. Really cool. Will be better than, say, like the HC1? Probably not, but we'll see. We are going to get this device. Flat cable magnetic earpods, which are again kind of cool, and they will be selling these for, I think, $24. And one of the big things about this device is that you do get unlimited photo storage with Amazon, and you do get 1 year of Amazon Prime for free. Oh, sorry. Last thing, you do get the Here maps because, of course, you do not have Google Maps. So Here maps are Nokia's maps, and they are supposed to be pretty good, but I just don't think it's going to be as obviously as good. And finally, we have Amazon's Mayday. So, that being said, what does the Android guy think of the Amazon Fire phone? It's going to flop. It's completely going to flop. It's going to be another Facebook phone. Now, it's not going to do as bad. And why? Why is this phone going to flop and suck? Well, it's pretty simple. Amazon has a much more current base compared to Facebook. When they tried to come out with Facebook phone and they thought people are always on Facebook, they want a Facebook phone. And this is what Amazon is trying to think. Well, people love us, so they want an Amazon phone. Here's the problem. Kindle Fires have gone way down in terms of sales. They are losing market share. And it's because people rather get the same phone as tablet. Now, this is why Amazon's doing this, right? They're wanting a phone and a tablet. They want to sell you the whole package. The problem with that is that they're getting Samsung. And Amazon will never come close to selling as many phones as Samsung. I mean, Apple can't even do it. So then why is it such a big deal that Amazon have a phone? Well, the reason they're doing it is because of the fact that they really want you to use their services. They want you to use their services. Amazon wants you to be a Prime member. Amazon wants you to buy stuff from there and consume more and consume more and consume more. And they want you, that's why the Flow app is so interesting because, I could be right here and scan, my Blu-ray over here, and it'll scan and it'll tell me I can buy it on Amazon. That's the whole idea that Amazon is trying to bring out. So that's the real concept behind it. But here's the thing: it's a limited app store. First of all, it's a limited app store, and it's 200,000 apps, which isn't bad, but a lot of apps are missing from there. Not as bad as, like, say, BlackBerry or Windows, but they're missing. And at the end of the day, people are not going to want that. There's less free apps on the Amazon store. That's a huge problem. The Amazon store takes away one of Android's biggest strengths. One of Android's biggest strengths, it has over 200,000 more free apps compared to iOS. 200,000 more free apps. It has as many free apps as Amazon has total apps. Just to give you an idea. So it's a big deal. It really, really is a big deal. So that is why it's just such a big reason for Amazon to go about this the right way, which it's just not going to do well. And I get it. They're doing a year of Prime, and they're like, oh, so really it's kind of like $99? No. You have to charge $99 for a 2-year contract for this device. $199 is too over the top. It has 2 gigs of RAM. It has last year's Snapdragon 800 processor. It's not going to be a seller. I'm sorry. And look, if I'm wrong, I'm completely wrong. I haven't been wrong before about these kind of devices, but there's first time for everything. I believe the Amazon phone Fire will flop simply because the user interface isn't necessarily easier than other Android devices, which it tries to be, but it's really not. It's really not, I would say, easier. You have Mayday, which is really cool, but it's just the fact that there's too many things going against it. It's a limited app store. The user interface is completely different from Android, so if you had another Android before and now you're going to this one, you're not going to get it. I don't know if they're trying to get Apple's customers or what, but you're not going to get current Android customers. You're not. Third, it's exclusive to AT&T. It's exclusive to AT&T, which does not work. Exclusivity doesn't mean anything anymore. Just because it worked with the iPhone, it's never worked with another phone after that. Look at the Nokias. Look at the what do you call it? Look at the Nokias. Look at the Facebook phone. Hell, even this. So I love this phone, the S5 Active. I freaking love this button, the Active button. It works awesome. The fact that I can just take photos right away, use my voice commands right away. It basically has the best of Windows as well as iOS with just this button. So I can just tap it, launch my camera, or hold it and launch my voice search. I love that. freaking love it. But again, this is the issue with what's going on with Amazon. It's not going to be successful as long as it's an AT&T exclusive. Because even a phone like this, even a phone that probably is successful, I don't obviously Samsung hasn't sold any numbers on this yet, but the S5 Active, even a device like this is losing money because it's only on AT&T. If this was on every other carrier, this would be selling a lot more. Exclusives do not work. They do not work. Plain and simple. All right. In the next bit of news, we have a keyboard for the Gear 2. I have used this. It's kind of interesting. It's a little hard to type. It really is. I might do a video on it because I think it's kind of interesting. There already are some videos out there, but I'm really kind of curious what you guys do. Would you guys really like to type on your wrist? I mean, for me, and I've seen other devices that are bigger than the Gear 2 that are trying to be on Kickstarter and Indigo and everything like that. But I just don't. I want voice text. I want voice to text on there. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is a good idea or not? I don't know. I don't see it being that good. I rather like preset my responses maybe more so or something like that than this because I don't know. I just don't like typing on my watch. And finally, some conflicting information. So before long, I will be doing a what do I think the iPhone 6 the iPhone 6 announcement will have once it's announced. Once before it's announced, I will say what it's going to have. Now, I have thought since day one that we will be getting the iPhone Air, not the iPhone 6, and the two iWatches, yes, two iWatches, in September, and then we would possibly get the 5.5-inch in November or March. The reason is because this 5.5-inch has been having so many issues. Could that be false? Well, this report's saying yes, it is. That all four of these will launch at the same time, but it's going to be in October, and possibly the announcement would be in September. Now, this is kind of interesting because this is pushed back later than expected. The reason why that would hurt Apple is because they're giving more time for Samsung to dominate. I mean, the longer Apple waits, the more Samsung sells. Because despite what everyone wants to think, it's a duopoly out there. It's Apple and it's Samsung. HTC, I'm sorry, the one flopped. The one is not selling. It sucks. And I feel like I have to do a video on that because people don't understand why the one flopped. But for me, I knew it was going to. I knew the one wasn't going to sell. And I have it. I completely have it. I used it. I use it at times here and there. I love the speakers. Love the speakers. Hate the camera. Just hate the camera. So, it's really something when it comes to these devices that it's a duopoly between these two. So the longer Apple waits, the more they're giving Samsung. But not only that, Samsung's going to launch their new phone, the Note, around that time. And the Note's gotten a lot popular. Some people really, when I'm showing off my S5, like, oh yeah, man, but I'm going to wait for the Note 4. I mean, I can't wait for the Note 4. I really can. It's going to be exciting. So that's going to be interesting if they launch after the Note 4, or are they still going to launch before? I'm curious. I wonder if Samsung would change their launch date because of Apple. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that they would change it? I'm kind of curious. All right. Sorry, I've kind of been going on each of these topics a little bit longer than normal. So now let's get on the weekly questions. If you have a weekly question, just email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com and ask your question. All right. So my friend that's asked, who's usually on here, I don't know if he's watching today, but asked a question for his partner, Storm. Storm basically said that an AT&T worker said that tethering will ruin your phone. Is there any truth behind it? Logically, I would think that it wouldn't be any more wear and tear than using the 4G network on a phone right? I would also think there's no physical damage overheating depending on the usage. And if it does ruin the phone, would would it be prevented by a Wi-Fi instead of it? Okay, so this is a pretty much very simple answer. That's complete bullshit. Sorry for the cursing. That's complete BS. That's complete BS. There's no way tethering affects the phone in any way negatively possible, except possibly for, like you said, overheating. If the phone's having overheating issues or anything like that, then obviously it would negatively affect the phone. But other than that, there is no way absolutely that it would affect the phone for that situation. So no, it will not affect the phone. Very simple, very clean. It will not. I use mine all the time. It's never affected it in any way negatively, shape or form. So no, it wouldn't do that. Sorry. Just getting my phone ready for the next upcoming questions. Alex asks, how do you think Apple will get away with presenting the iPhone alone above the perfect screen size? And perfect is quotations. They always said the 3.5 was perfect screen size, and they changed their minds. iPhone 5 was justified because they altered the display ratio, but what about now? What will Apple say, in your opinion? Thanks. They're not going to talk about it. It's just that easy. When the iPhone Air is announced, they will not talk about that it's a wrong screen size, or that they haven't talked about 3.5 being the right perfect screen size since Steve Jobs. And there's a reason for that. Because Apple doesn't go towards the past. You know, before Apple was saying, oh, look at us, we're the biggest OS. You've never heard them talk about the OS now in terms of size. Why? Because they're in the back burner now. They're being destroyed by Android worldwide. iOS is nothing compared to Android worldwide. So that's all there is to it. It's just, it cannot compare to it. And that's why it's now they altered the aspect ratio. Yes, that's all they did with the iPhone 5. Yes, it was a 4-inch compared to 3.5, but it's because they changed to a 16:9 ratio instead of the classic 4:3 ratio. And there you go. Which is why I'm completely against any Android ever being 4:3 ratio, because it's not made for that ratio. You need to be a 16:9. Period. Any Android you ever see this at a 4:3 ratio, don't buy it. No apps are made for it. All the apps are messed up with it. It's not good at all. Never buy a 4:3 ratio Android device, period. So yeah, I don't think they're gonna, talk about it. It's something I actually always make fun of when I show, people. Let me do it with the Galaxy S5. So it's something that I always make fun of. I'm always like, this is your iPhone 5S screen compared to my Galaxy S5 screen. Let me turn that brightness down. So that's it. That's the difference. That's a 4-inch screen compared to a 5.5 inch or 5.1 inch screen. That's the screen size difference. So I always show people that difference, and because that's one-handed operation on the Galaxy S5. You can do it on the Note too. The Note's more laughable, of course, because you're just like, that's your iPhone. Oops, let me move that down. That is your iPhone in my Note 3. So all kinds of fun with that, of course. So you have that ability. So yeah, I don't think they're going to talk about the screen size at all, because they're going to talk about it like we revolutionized the screen size. We didn't want to make a big screen. We wanted to make the perfect screen, talk about their Ultra Retina display and everything they're having with the iPhone Air. Jesus Jones asks, my Sprint Note 2 voicemail icon. So essentially, a Sprint Note 2 voicemail icon disappeared one day. He's like, I don't know where it is. So Jesus, you ask a lot of questions all the time. Couple of things. I'm not sure how it disappeared. My first advice would be to go into App Manager. Application Manager. So you're going to go in your settings, and you're going to go to your Application Manager. When you go to your Application Manager, you're going to go through these screens. Again, I'll turn the brightness down just so we can see it. And next to the All section, you're going to see Running. Turned off. And these are all the apps that I have turned off. So you're going to go through it and see what apps are turned off, and see if your voicemail is one of them. Because if it is, that's what happened to it. I would say that's most likely probably where it is, because that's the only thing I can think of if it's turned off. Please let me know in the comment section down below if you're watching, or email me back and let me know if it worked. And also, when you get text messages, so this is an annoying thing, and it's just something on Android right now. Who knows? Maybe they'll fix it with the next version of Android. But Android currently, when you pull down, I read my whole text message, right? So if I pull down the notification, the person sent me a one-line text message. No, yeah, I will meet you there. Very quick text message. I can see it on my notification tray, and I've already read it. If I just clear it away, it's still going to be on my Hangouts or on my text messages that I have one missing text message. Same thing with missed phone calls too, which is a little annoying. I wish that if you would see it there and swipe it away, that it counts as read. It doesn't, and there's no way to do that currently on Android, so it's just a problem with it right now. All right. Bridget asks, speed up S4. Hello, I was watching your video on how to speed up the S4 in my application manager. I accidentally removed TouchWiz. You said never remove it. What should I do? Exactly what I just said. Go to Application Manager. So you can go into General, Application Manager, because I don't know if hopefully you can even do this, because I don't even know if you can recover TouchWiz if you don't have it. And go to that and then do turn it off, and then you're set. You're all set. So yeah, that's what you would do. All right, now I'm going to go to the last question. If you guys have any questions, ask them in the comment section down below, and I will get them to them right after this question. All right, is there any way, or Angela asks, is there any way to speed up Plants vs. Zombie 2 on my Galaxy Tab 4 7.0? I watched your videos. They rock, by the way. Thank you. I asked, I understand the graphics card is not up to par. Are there any settings that I can change? So here's the thing. So if you go under Settings and go under Developer Options, if you don't know how to, you should have seen my video on how to speed up the Tab 4. You will have Developer Options then if you have that. So you're going to scroll down to the Hardware Accelerator Rendering. Okay, and in this section, you can see there's a couple of things you can do. One is force GPU rendering, and the second, and some other ones are turn on 4x MSAA and turn on hardware overlays. I would say first try force rendering the GPU in 2D hardware. If the hardware is good enough, it will make it better, but if not, it won't. It just, I mean, there is GPU limitations. Then turn on 4x MSAA and see if that'll work. But there's only so much you can do. Again, the graphics card is just not made for high-end games, unfortunately. Although, that sucks if Plants vs. Zombie 2 is having a hard time. I am sorry for that. Alright, now let's go in the comment section down below and answer some of these questions. Hey Brandon, thanks for watching. Eve Hill, what's up? Thanks again. Why would you choose the Note 4 over the OnePlus One phone? That's interesting. Why would I choose the the Note 4 over the OnePlus One phone? So here's the thing. Why would I choose it over the OnePlus One phone? So a couple of things. One. So for the first simple thing, I'm not a fan of CyanogenMod. Not a fan of it. I just don't care for it. The ones that launched with a whole bunch of bugs they sent to reviewers. I didn't get mine, unfortunately. But it's something that they were having issues with. So I'm not a fan of CyanogenMod. Full disclosure. But why would I choose it over the OnePlus One? Well, the Note 4 will be better than the OnePlus One, first of all, period. The Note 3, I would argue, can match the OnePlus One for the most part. If you think about it, it really can. Now, there are certain things, too, like that you have on Samsung's version of Android that I prefer over the stock Android experience. And a lot of people think about the OnePlus One as CyanogenMod, so it's like stock Android. But again, just things like this. The fact that I can use this phone one-handed is something that I can't do on stock Android. And I love features like this. I also love features like split screen. The fact that I can have split screen is another feature I love of this. Screen mirroring. The fact that I can mirror my phone to my Samsung TV works perfectly for me. The fact that I have S-Beam, so I can transfer things through Wi-Fi Direct without needing to set up Wi-Fi Direct. I can just tap and it'll transfer through it. And Android Beam doesn't work as well, even with the new updates I've found. So things like that, but not to mention the Note 4's camera will destroy the OnePlus One. The Note 4's processor will destroy the OnePlus One. The graphics card will completely destroy the OnePlus One. So the question really becomes price versus best of the best. Because the OnePlus One obviously is going to be probably half the price of the Note 4. However, for the Note 4, you're going to get the best of the best. You're getting the best phone that will be out this year, in my opinion. So that's my opinion. What do I think of SquareTrade.com? Not sure where this is coming from, Evil. What do I think of SquareTrade.com? I mean, I never used it, so yeah, I've never used it. Square software alone I like, but Square Trade I think is a trading website. If I'm not, let me just see Square Trade. Oh no, this is something entirely different. Okay. Protection that I am sorry, Evil. I completely. So I've heard of this. So you have file plans and protection plans. So essentially, you get a protection plan for your device. Is what it looks like. Let me see. What kind of prices are we talking about here? Do you pay deductible afterward? Zero hassle claim service online over the phone. Pay monthly. Tell me more. So I would have to look more into this, which I will. So I can pay $99 for the year. Do I pay deductible though? And a $75 deductible. So here's the thing about products, about things like this. So I am paying $100 plus 75, right? And that's for 2 years. So this is cheaper. This is cheaper than the regular warranty service. This is cheaper than the regular warranty service from the AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile that they offer. However, is it as good? I don't know. I would really have to look more into it. Covers any working phone, new phone, same repair, location, service shop, next day replacement, which is good. Loss and theft. Oh. No. This doesn't cover lost or stolen. No. I mean, the one thing that my protection needs to cover is lost or stolen for me. If I don't have lost or stolen coverage, I don't care for it. So, sorry, Phil. That's my answer. I don't care for it. If it doesn't have lost or stolen, I don't care for it. Yo, Ricky, what do you think about changing boot logos on rooted devices? I think it's cool, Brandon. I think it's cool. I do think that I do think it's cool, but I don't see it as necessary. I don't root anymore. I used to root all the time. I don't root anymore, just because I hate the constant updates that you have to do when it comes to rooting. So that's why I don't root anymore. Do you think that the G3 will compete with the Samsung and iPhone? No. Michael, I do not think that the G3 will compete with the Samsung or iPhone, and simply because it's on the same league. Not that it's on a good phone, but again, I was quoted last year for CNET as saying this: the G2 was one of the best devices out on the market that no one cared about, and the G3 will be the same. They have not had any marketing yet. They're not in the U.S. yet. So if they do some astounding marketing, if they do a really good job and knock it out of the park, then it'll be great. But no, I just don't believe so. I could be wrong, and I welcome to be wrong. I really would love to see LG be a third competitor because competition is better. but their G Watch looks cheap. Everyone's going to get the Moto X. They're not going to get the G Watch, in my opinion. I just don't like the way the G Watch looks at all. If Samsung, I'm reading the questions as they go along. If Samsung does announce a watch at Google I/O with Android Wear, it'll blow the G Watch out. The G Watch is just it's done before it even comes out. So, but yeah, the G3, I don't believe it won't compete in sales. Let me put it that way. The G3 will not compete in sales. It's going to start off at $199, 2 months down the line. 2 months. And you can quote me on this. 2 months down the line, it's going to drop down to $99 because it will not be selling. And LG is going to do the same thing that they did with the G2, that they did with the G1, that they did with the G Flex. They're going to drop the price in order to sell it because it's going to not sell. This is what they did with the G2, the G Flex, and even before that, the G Pro. All three of them did not sell. All three of them, they had to cut the price, and that's when they started selling. Sorry, but it's true. Is it speculation that there will be 2 iPhones and iWatches, or are all the websites BS? Apple has said nothing. So here's some news, guys, and you only get this news if you're watching Android Weekly. My friend actually saw a leaked image of the iWatch. I was not able to get it. I was going to do a breaking news on it last week, but I did not because I didn't have a picture of it. So I feel kind of it's like word say kind of thing. But here's the thing: the iWatch will look like the I can't think of the name of this device right now. The Gear Fit. The iWatch looks almost exactly like the Gear Fit, he said, without the silver trim, and it has the clasp of the original bands, which I cannot find them. The original bands for the Gear 2. I do not know where my original bands are, but the original bands for the Gear 2. He saw it on Apple's developers website, and it went up. I think it was like not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. It went up on their website for like 20 minutes while they were resetting the website, and it refreshed his page and kicked him off. Basically, it was development for the iWatch and accidentally went up way before it was supposed to. I think they were testing out the website, but again, they kicked him off before he could even screenshot it. He didn't know how to screenshot on a computer, which I was like, oh my god, you know how much money you could have got for that. But yeah, so that's what happened with that. So I believe there will be a 4.7-inch iPhone. Period. There will be that. I do believe that there will be 2 iWatches. I can see them doing 2 because I can see them doing one this size and one closer to this size. But this size is, I think, what they're going for. Maybe, who knows? Maybe there won't be 2 iWatches. If I had a bet, I bet there would be 1 phone and 2 watches. Now, there's a lot of speculation coming out that there will be 2 iPhones. I believe if the second iPhone comes out, it'll come out with the iPads. That's my belief. All right, let me move on to the next question. Can you do one-handed mode on the Galaxy S4? No. It was only available on the Note 3 and then the S5, and I'm sure it'll be available on the Note 4. Google I/O expectations, and if Google will implement the Quantum paper redesign. So, what to expect at Google I/O? I'm actually going to do an entire video on this, but a brief synopsis on what they're going to do. Will we see Lollipop? That's a big question that everyone's asking. Will we see Android 5.0? I believe it's due. Or 4.4. A lot of people are speculating it's just going to be called 4.4 and not 5.0. I believe it's due. We had KitKat last year. I think it was around the same time, around June, and then it launched with the Nexus 7 in July. So yeah, I believe we should have Android 4.4. The real question is we haven't really seen much on it. I mean, we kind of saw more on KitKat before it came out. With this one, we have not. So I'm really kind of curious on what will happen with that. And will they? I don't know about the Quantum paper design. I'm not sure if I like it, to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see, kind of thing. Again, I'll go more into it. I do believe that there will be watches. I believe there's going to be a tablet. There has to be a tablet. They always announce some hardware with it. So I believe that there will be a tablet. I do not believe there'll be a phone. I believe that there will be a phone. It will be towards the fall, just like the Nexus 5 was. And I do believe there will be one more Nexus. And no, LG will not be making it. Who will be making it? That's a question. Meredith asked, what do you think is the best smartwatch this year? It's a little early to ask that, Meredith. It's a really early to ask that, to be honest. Because here's the thing. One of the rumors going around right now, which I believe makes sense, is that in the fall, when they announce the Note 4 for Samsung, they will either announce, or maybe both, a Gear 3 and a Gear, what the hell they call it? Gear Glass, I think they're calling it, or supposedly it's being called. So because there's going to be a Gear 3, because there's going to be the Moto 360, because there's going to be an iWatch, that's 3 heavyweights you're contending with that are not out yet. Not to mention, I am still waiting for my Hot Watch, which I loved. I saw at CES. If you haven't checked it out, it was my favorite smartwatch up until that point. And simply because I could talk like this, and I could have a private call, something that I feel that all smartwatches, it makes the smartwatch complete. Now, Hot Watch has a patent on it, so technically no one else should be able to use it, but we'll see how it does it. All right, the Fly one asked, any chance that the Sony Z2 will come to U.S. carriers? Absolutely, it will come to Verizon. It will come to Verizon. I am positive that the Z2 will come to Verizon. Will it come to other carriers? That's more of a question. It definitely will come to Verizon. Verizon will get it. I would be surprised if T-Mobile doesn't as well, because T-Mobile was the one that was pretty much making Sony a name in the U.S. So if Sony kind of like, oh, we got Verizon now, we don't need you anymore, I think that's going to be a bridge burned. So I do believe that maybe that Verizon will have an exclusive for a month or two, but I would be surprised if they don't also get it at over there. But yeah, I do believe that will happen, and we're going to see some other manufacturers come into the U.S. more. Alcatel is one of them that I'm sure will be spreading out more, and Huawei it was supposed to come out this year with some phones in the U.S. Hasn't happened yet because of issues and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see if that changes. But yeah, the Sony Xperia Z2, quote me on it, will come to Verizon. All right, Brandon again. Brandon asked another question. That is, I recently rooted my Galaxy S5 with Taoroot. Oh, I've heard great things about Taoroot, which did not trip the Knox counter. I don't know if there is any way to get 4.4.2 plus KitKat when it comes out on the S5 by somehow unrooting. So I know about Taoroot. It's supposed to make a very easy to root device, very, very easy. However, to unroot, you should still be able to use Odin very easily if Taoroot does not have a unroot solution. I'm not sure if they do. I've not looked into it that much. But Taoroot has a rooting solution. But regardless, you can unroot with Odin always with Samsung devices. So if you did need to unroot for any reason, you can always unroot with Odin. And just to go to XDA developers, you'll find all the information you need right then and there. But yeah, hopefully Taoroot's cool. I mean, it sounds very good, and it's made it very simple. Hi, Antonio. All right. Any other questions, guys, or we'll wrap this up? We went 45 minutes, and thank you for all the participation. There was a lot of questions today, so that was really cool. Antonio, do I like a PS3? Absolutely, I love my PS3. I will be, not to get into the video gaming section, but I will be getting a PS4 soon. Actually, some news. I will be moving soon, guys, so this will be much better. I will essentially finally have a room specifically for filming in my new place. I'm moving with my girl, and we already have a place picked out. We're moving in less than a month. So yeah, I will be getting a PS4 now and have all that fun stuff. I can't wait for PlayStation Now. If you saw the video I did for PlayStation Now at CES, check it out. It was so cool. The fact that I'm going to be able to play like PS3 games on my Android someday in the near future, I mean, I'm all for that. Completely all for that. So that sounds great to me. But yeah, I do like my PS3. I mean, do I have a controller here or something like that? How did you know I have a PS3, or did you just saw my PS3 controller? But yes, I like PS3. I feel like that was a loaded question, but I don't know why. But yes, I like PS3. I like it a lot. Even though I haven't gamed in so long, uh, I just haven't gamed. I haven't gamed like I used to. My girl's actually playing this right now. Final Fantasy X HD. Kingdom Hearts 3. That's what I'm waiting on. All right. Any other questions, guys? Give it a few more minutes. But yeah, so hopefully there will be no delays in Android Weekly over the next month, but I will be moving, so you might start to see like some pieces missing here. I'm gonna try to move on one day, but obviously it's just moving. If any of you guys ever moved, I'm sure you're aware of how fun it is. So we'll be moving, and it will take up some time, but hopefully there will be no delays with Android Weekly. If there is, I do apologize. I'm going to try my best, though, to like move on a Saturday and just everything, all that stuff done. But then I have to have internet at the place, too, in order to film like this. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it will go well. And yes, all right. All right, guys, that was all of the news we had today. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Android Weekly. If you did, please leave a like in the comment section down below and share with all your friends. Have you ever had friends annoy you with Android questions? Send them to me, and I will answer all their questions. Email me at askandroidguy@gmail.com and make sure your subject is question, and I will answer your question next week on Android Weekly. Thank you for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.